Even though we are going to do QA, why are we learning Java? Java is a programming language. Java is a language which should be used by developers. Java is an enterprise language. Java is a framework to make applications. Why do we learn Java then? Okay. Actually, there is a nice concept called continuous integration. So that made all this come together. For example, think like tomorrow you go to a company, right? You work in a company. Let me tell you. First class will be mostly diagrams. So to understand the concepts, why we need Java. For example, every company writes code, right? Say software company's inventory, what is their product made up of, what do they need to save, what do they need to use inventory for and all this stuff code. So when people build applications, today everything is a web application. Do you agree with me? Either web application, web services, and if there are desktop application or Windows services or some other things, they are for internal use, not for really external use. But to the end user, it will be web application. Anything web or an app or a web service or anything for end user, generally it comes from using web technologies. So think like your company is developing an application, so they may using some code, right? So tell me, what are the languages which a company does? Yeah, hi Andre. Okay, we just started. Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow, think like a company is building application. What are the languages a company chooses to build an application? Can you tell me? Up to build an application, not to do TTP scripting or something. I'm asking, tell me some languages where you can build applications, web applications using it. Any languages? Everyone online, they should type in actually. Yeah. Tell me. Visual Basic. Okay. Anything else? HTML. Anything else? See, HTML is not really a language. It's not a programming language. It's a markup language to display web pages. C++. Okay. Java, C++. So you're telling me, so Java is there, C++ is there, VB is there. So let's say VB or VB.NET or let's say C#. Okay. And you can use C language. Yes, if you want really to make nice, cool, low-level, robust, secure applications, still you might use C language. If you want to use control, yes, then there is PHP to make web applications only. And then there is Perl to make web applications and some other server-side web server CJ scripting. Then there is Python, and there is Ruby or Ruby on Rails, right? Ruby on Rails. Okay. So these are some of the languages where we can make applications. Agree? So for example, if I am making a web application tomorrow, think like I am at Canvas or something, like tomorrow I am starting a company, I have to make a web application. So what is the language I will be using? Either Java, either C++, C, PHP. These are my choices. Is there any way VBScript language there? Do you see VBScript language to make web application? No. It's just a scripting language to do some user interactivity or some kind of validations on web pages. Other than that, VBScript is not useful. Then there is JavaScript. Same. It's a ECMS script to do small validations on the web pages, small programming. It is not compiled or anything. Okay. And there are some other languages. For example, what are the scripting languages? Do you know? HTML, all these are to display HTML, XML, or any markup language ML. Any markup language is helping web applications. Helping means to display, share information on HTTP. That is the web protocol, right? We discussed that in web services sometime long back. Okay. So okay. So these are some of the stuff. Now you're telling me, for example, think like I am starting tomorrow a company. So what is one of the major language where enterprise are built? Tell me, like one of the major language, Java or C++ or C or anything. So you know Java. Means Java is a simple object-oriented programming. So now I will take Java. Okay, I got Java. So my company created my application. So in my application there will be a business layer, there will be UI layer, there means in Java there may be many packages, right? My company doesn't write one class, one package, right? There will be hundreds and hundreds of programs. So I put each one as a module. I will tell this is a business layer, this is a data access layer, this is the UI layer, something like that. So now I have all applications in that. Now tomorrow, think like I'm a very startup company. Think like I'm a basic startup company. I'm creating a startup company. Why did I pick Java? Can anyone tell me why did I pick Java? Why didn't I go to .NET? Why did I pick Java? Java is open source. It can run on any server, and I can use Apache and Linux and anything, so that I can. .NET can't run on Linux. .NET can't run on Unix. So I have all open source. So now my operating systems and softwares are free. Got it? My operating systems and softwares are free. Now my coding is also free because I used Eclipse IDE, I used Eclipse tool, that is free. I use some other tool that is free. Means everything is free in Java mostly. And now my programming language, all I need to pay for is developers. I need to pay some money to pay developers. Now I have built this web application. Think like I have built this web application. Okay. Now I hosted this code onto web application. There will be a web server, right? Think like we have a web server. This is the web server. Okay. Web server. Okay. Let's say this is the web server. Okay. Tell me some of the web servers. Anyone? Tell me some of the web servers. Apache, IIS, JBoss, WebLogic, many things. Okay. So I think like I used Apache and I hosted mine here. Okay, web server. To host a Java application here, first you need to compile these programs, right? What is compilation mean? Can anyone tell me what is compilation mean? What is compilation mean? What is compilation? Compiling a program mean? Tell me. No. Compiling means, does anyone know what is a build? What is a build? Building code. Putting together everything to make your web application and putting it on web server. That is called building. Building means putting everything together. Compiling means converting this Java code is in English, right? I mean Java language, right? You need to convert that into machine language, right? So when you compile, that converts it into machine language. Then that converts it into bits, bytes. Perfect, Rekha. So bits and bytes, that converts into bits and bits. Actually, not bits, bytes. Some byte language, some intermediate language. Okay. Then we need to build it. Now building, compiling also makes, now not only that, then we will make a build. Build means putting all together. So build involves compiling and putting all together. A build means putting all together. Now then you will need to deploy. What does deploy mean? The word itself tells. Putting this on the web server and making the configurations and stuff. Right? Deploy. Okay. Deploy. Got it? Agreed? Deploy, then it will deploy it on the web server. Perfect. Okay. So it comes from here to here to here, and here to here. Did you see this? Okay. That is the process. Think like, now we need to do testing. Am I right? Now I am put it on a web server. We need to do testing. So what are the tools there in the market to do testing? Means I hire 5 testers now. I got this. So now I need to do it. I need to have a test management tool. What is a management tool? Issue management tool, bug management tool, bug issue tracking tool. No, that is not QTP. Tell me some of the tool. QC, quality centers, Jira, Bugzilla. So there are other stuff too. Clear case and all this stuff. Okay. So now I have to purchase. So if I have to use quality center, I have to purchase QC. I have to purchase QC, right? So I pay some money. See, now I got $5 QA, and I paid money and I got QTP. And now I got QC. Now my developers, my testers will say, let's do automation, because this is the product we use for our lifetime. As long as the company is there, I support the product. So I might have released 1 today, tomorrow release 2, release 3. So we need to do regression, right? If I do introduce something new, I need to do regression. So you will tell that let's do automation. My testers will say that let's do automation. So I have to purchase an automation tool, right? Tell me some of the automation tools available. QTP, load runner. Yeah, whatever performance or anything. Okay, no problem. QTP, load runner. Okay. I don't want to use Selenium here. Yeah. Rational, some other tools to test complete, and there are many other tools to build it. So we need to pay money for that, right? See, I purchased the QC already. Now you are asking me to purchase QTP. Okay, fine, I purchased that too. You are asking me to purchase load runner. I purchased that too. So until development, didn't I do it freely? Yeah. Now when it came to testing phase, you are asking me to put money. Am I right? I am a company. I did development for freely, and you are asking me, and I am hosting this freely. Now you are asking me to pay for testing. You see the difference? Yeah. And I have to pay for the testers, and I have to pay for the tools and all this stuff. Now tomorrow, what is the language application is written? Java. Does my developer knows Java? Now what is the language QTP is using? VB script. So can my developer do VB scripting? No. Can my tester look into Java code? No. No integration. So this is different world. So okay, something like, for example, I had a QTP VB script expert. Think like I had a VB script expert. Now for a while it worked fine, but I lost that guy. He got a better offer and he left. Now I have to hire another VB script expert. So my company is depending upon VB script just because I used QTP. Am I right? Just because I used QTP, I have to hire guys who know VB script. But really, my company has nothing to do with VB script. If you see, my development is in Java. My application is in Java. My developers, my knowledge is in Java. Why should I do VB scripting? Why? Just because I got QTP. Right? Okay. Next thing. First case is money. Then we are different. We are bringing a different knowledge into company just because we are using a tool. And the third thing is, I build this application, means I make my developers write Java code. Then they will compile, they will build, they will deploy. Now after I put it on web server, you will say that I will test after that. Am I right? Means you will go to UI, you will go to the QA site, and then you will do your testing. Means, for example, I am a startup company. So should I hire QAs only after the build is deployed? So what will the QA do until deploy? They can write test cases, they can do anything, I know. Okay, I agree. But remember, see, this is fine. But companies now, they are moving into agile development. Remember agile, what is agile tell? What are the principles of agile? Everything should be integrated, teams should work together. Where is this team working together? No, I don't see any integration. Now think like, let's imagine that tomorrow, yes, Mandip. Mandip, do you have a question? Okay. Yeah, Mandip. Now, yeah, what does Agile tell you? Agile tells you that everything should be integrated. A company should be one knowledge. Everything should be continuous process. Many things. Okay. Extreme programming, test-driven development. You have to do testing along with development and stuff. Think like there is a Java program. Simple. There is a Java program. Here there is a simple Java program. Okay. A developer, when he writes this Java program, he has to test it, right? For example, think like there is tomorrow I am building a Twitter or something. New tweet, create a new tweet. This method is here. Even though I do it from my mobile phone, iPhone, even though I do it from my web application, even though I do it from some other API, it's same, right? This is in this method. If it goes wrong, it goes everywhere. It goes wrong everywhere. If it goes wrong here, it will go wrong everywhere. Agree? Now think like developer writes unit test cases. But when a developer writes unit test cases, he will only think about this method. He won't see the user perspective. Because a developer builds depending upon the design document. Design always tell to make it nice designs. Doesn't tell, a design document will never tell, a functional design document. A functional design document or a technical design document will never tell that we will make our user feel better. It will only tell that let's make a good design. Requirements tell that let's give what the user wants, what the customer wants. So a test case is dependent on requirement. Do you agree with me? Every test case maps to a requirement. So now, why don't you bring that test cases and do unit testing here? If let's developer does use unit testing, why don't you also do the unit testing? Okay, no problem. So when you write a unit testing program, it's a Java program. You agree with me? You agree? So you will write a unit testing program in Java program only. And for example, you wrote the performance of that small unit. You can write a performance test on the small unit. Okay. Think like even the web application, instead of QTP scripts, instead of writing in VB script, if we write in Java, you can put it here only, right? Think like we write all this QTP scripts, means functional testing scripts also in here. We will do performance testing also here. So everything is written in Java only. Now the beauty of this one is, now when I compile, everything is Java, everything needs to be compiled. Agree? And I can run the test here itself. While building only, I can run the test. I can run the unit tests, I can run the Selenium functional test, I can run the performance test, I can run everything. And I will deploy it here. So if any of this fails, I will stop deploying. If everything passes, I will deploy. So by the time site gets to the web server, it's already tested. So when QA is doing the building, why don't you do all this stuff? So by the time we build it, it's already there. Every night build, every change build, it is automatically doing regression. This is called continuous integration. Made sense? Are there benefits to a company on this? Do you see any benefits to a company on this? So why do we need to learn Java? Okay, CI. This is test-driven development also. There are many agile principles in it, forget about that. And that's why if you need to write your testing in Java, what is the tool you have to use? What is the tool you have to use? Selenium. So now you understand why people want Selenium. They don't want other expertise. They want their test to be included in the build. They want their test to be written in the same language as their developers write. They don't want to pay for them. You see that? That is why Selenium is becoming famous. Agreed? Any questions? Okay. So let's learn Java. Okay. Before going into Java, okay. Java is the object. Remember, here whoever is learning Java or something, it should be remember that it's only object-oriented programming we are learning. Everything is object-oriented programming. There is a difference between scripting language and a normal programming language. Means compiled language. You can say that is a compiled language. And in languages there are procedural, and there are object oriented, So we are learning here object oriented programming language. So if you learn Java, you will automatically know what is C#, you will understand C#, you will understand PHP, you will understand Python. Actually Python is okay, no problem. You can understand Ruby tomorrow. Okay, Ruby is more dynamic, it's okay. But still, we can understand C++, any object-oriented program. So if you learn Java, you will understand all this. Easy to understand.
So if we decide to use basic instead of Java, then we will not be using Selenium or...
We will be using Selenium. Selenium is not language dependent. That is the beauty of Selenium. Selenium supports C#, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby, not Perl, PHP, Ruby, Java, everything. It supports everything. That's why it supports all the object-oriented languages. Object-oriented programming languages. Okay? Alright. So any questions before we start? Okay. Right. So let's go into Java. Java is a programming language. So before I go into Java, there is one of my favorite slides. That is where I start all my process. I'm starting Java. You see this? This is how software engineering evolved over the years. people, when people started creating computers, they created processor, they created all this software, processor, memory, and all this. So people used to literally see every machine has a processor and a memory. So when I talk about memory, am I talking about RAM or am I talking about external hard drive? RAM. Memory means current memory. Okay. So when I talk about memory, it will be always RAM. That is where your applications run. They won't run in external hard drive. That is only for storage. That has no other purpose. RAM is where your RAM makes your memory for running applications. Okay. So people used to literally code in machine language. So what is the language a processor understands? Can anyone tell me? Zeros and ones, binary language. So a processor can only understand zeros and ones. It can't understand anything else. Then there is high level languages. People thought like actually when they were doing machine language, after that people started using assembly languages. Can anyone tell me what is binary language and assembly language? What is the difference between assembly language and a binary language? I know this is zeros and ones. This looks like this one, 0, 1, 0, like this. What is an assembly language? It looks like this, hexadecimal or some other codes, but they can be easily transformed to zeros and ones. It is another format. It is another format like hexadecimal or some other format, but that can be easily converted to, for example, X is 0001, Y is this one, AB, like hexadecimal. So easily converted to binary. So assembly language, people coded in assembly language for many years. Even when people say they are coming from electronics background in the olden days, they did assembly language programming. Yes. Okay. Then people thought like, no, that is assembly language readable. Can you understand by reading a program what is it? No, you can't understand, but a machine can understand and easily transform it and all this stuff. So we don't, I agree. Finally, we want to make machine read. See, finally, everything you write cache should be converted to zeros and ones. Do you agree with me? Okay. Now, then people created operating systems. After that, before that, people created languages. Languages started depending upon the need. For example, Fortran. Who created Fortran? NASA created Fortran because they want to transform some formulas. They want to put formulas there. So when I send my inputs, I will get output. I don't have to program this. I don't have to use hundreds and hundreds of pages to do calculations, right? So this is Fortran. Then there is Lisp. Lisp is good for actually artificial intelligence, robots and all this stuff. It is actually very good at recursion and all these concepts. If you do artificial intelligence course in any of your academic area, they will teach you either Lisp or Prolog. Okay. Then there is C language. C is a high level language. There was COBOL too. COBOL is one of the basic forms. COBOL is like writing small subroutines and putting the business conditions. And there is a C language. C language changed the world. C is one of the best language you have till date. Means depending upon stuff. For example, if you want to do with formulas, Fortran is best. If you want to do artificial intelligence, Lisp is best. But when it comes to generic purpose applications, generic purpose softwares, building softwares, C is a very good language. Okay. Then people created operating systems. What are operating systems? Can anyone tell me? Windows 2000, like you can say Mac, Unix, Linux and all this. So, can I talk to my processor directly? When I write a C program, now tomorrow, see, there is an operating system on this machine, right? There is an operating system on my machine. Can I talk to my processor and RAM directly without talking to operating system? No. No. Operating system is the branch it is created. Every talk has to go through that. Unless you do BIOS and all this stuff.
Isn't it FX?
You can change it, but what I'm telling is create me memory. Can you tell that create me memory, run this program and all this? You can make partitions. You are making partitions of what?
Of our hard drive.
Hard drive. I'm not talking about a hard drive. I'm talking about RAM and processor. Can you talk to processor and RAM make a program run without operating system? Maybe you can when you do BIOS programming or something like this. Means when you talk to differently, you have some other like operating system, like something. You don't need a huge operating system, but you can do that. But remember, why did people create operating systems? Everything do from me. I will be your guide. Like everything I will give you. You don't have to manage your hardware. I will manage your hardware. For example, if I want to run a program, see, for example, I opened so many applications here. How can I open so many applications at one time? It is multitasking. It is using my RAM and processor, switching between time. Who is doing that for me? Operating system. This is the operating system capability. If operating system is not there, can I run this many applications at one time? No. So remember, so when you run your programs tomorrow, they run on an operating system. So when you think like, now I'm telling that everything runs on an operating system. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me make this one. Okay. And copy this one to. Okay. Okay, no problem. Give me 1 second. Oh, I got my Eclipse here. Alright, just want to put it there. Okay. So now let's go and make another diagram. Okay. I wrote a C program. Okay. Think like I wrote a C program. Come on. And I write this as a C program. So C program. Okay. I have to compile this one. So remember, this is your hardware. This is your hardware. So hardware means generally I mean memory and processor. Okay. So now this, see, every hardware is masked by whom? Who is the master who manages it?
No.
Oh yes, operating system. Okay, perfect operating system. A C program is run. Then I have to compile this one, right? Compile, everything has to be compiled. What is the language of C? C is written in C language. Finally, everything should be converted to bits and bytes to understand. So when I compile, what do I get? Bits and bytes? No, you won't get bits and bytes. That is the, you get a language which a operating, see, you cannot talk to your hardware directly. If you are not talking to your processor directly, what is the use of zeros and ones? You are talking to operating system. Your programs will talk to operating system only. So to talk to operating system, what is the language Windows understands? DOS. Right? What is the language Windows understands? What is the language Unix understands? Some other shell scripting or something, some scripts. And what is the language Mac understands? So every program, so when you compile a program, you get a code. That code is nothing but operating system code. This is called OS specific code. OS specific code. Okay. Okay. So because you won't talk to, so then this, when you supply this code to operating system will convert this into ones and zeros. And it will get the returns back and it will return everything. So now you can't talk to your processor and hardware directly. Okay. So specific code. So now think like, when I compile a C program on Windows, can I run it on Mac? No. When I compile a C program on Mac, can I run it on Linux? No. Because the language every operating system understands is different. So now you got it. Okay. All right. Now, so people were content actually, these are the languages, these are the operating systems, and they created and they are fine. So everything was going fine until then. Suddenly, Actually, world changed a lot in this period. What are the things which came up? There is a thing called X Windows. X Windows means before Windows used to be DOS. Finally, you started getting Windows buttons, close button, start button, and all these buttons and GUI. This came from this technology, X Windows. And OpenLook is a GUI, graphical user interface technology for other operating systems. Then there is ISAM. Can anyone tell me what is ISAM? Indexing. Before, people used databases, but databases didn't have indexing. If there was no indexing, data retrieval was not fast. For example, I have a data, there are 100 million rows. I have to find one row. I have to search 100 million rows for that. After indexing, everything became fast. So now I can put in my databases and retrieve it faster. So databases became popular after this indexing technology. I don't remember. Okay. And then there is TCP/IP. What is this protocol? Transmission Control Protocol. What does this mean? You can connect one computer to another computer using the Ethernet card. Every computer will have an IP address. From this only internet came. From TCP/IP only HTTP came. From TCP/IP only internet came. But that is later. But you can connect to two computers using LAN, intranet, intranet and Ethernet. Forget about internet, that is different. Okay, but you can do intranet. And so when people got these many technologies, people want to build many applications. People want to use all this stuff and make new applications. So they, for example, you can create a Yahoo Messenger now. You can create all. See, at a time there was a boom. Many applications came. That is the time. So people needed more languages. Why? Because they want to create more applications and they want to create it faster. They want to write softwares very fast. So they need some other languages. See, when I write a C language, it can't run anywhere. If I run it for Windows, it should be different. For C, something